I'm in pain 24/7, so 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
It's hellish pain at times. I mean, it's just a monster.
I was in a lot of pain trying to hold on to the straps or, doing all the things that you have to do as a commuter.
It never goes away. It does flare up, depending on what I'm doing, what activity I'm doing. If I push myself too much, then it flares up more.
I was struggling and it was becoming very stressful because if I couldn't get a seat, then I was going to be sore for the rest of the day and extremely tired.
I call it the dragon because it undulates and does so many things and breathes fire.
I actually went into hospital for 3 weeks, and during that time I learnt a lot about the pain cycle, self-management techniques, and really I suppose I had the revelation that there was not going to be a pill that would fix this, and there was not going to be an operation that would fix this, and that basically this is the body that I have, this is how it will always be, but there are things that I can do to help manage that body to make it as good as it possibly can be.
It means that I can't do the things that I used to be able to do, but I've accepted that now with the training that I've been given. I was very fortunate to be lucky enough to be accepted onto the pain management programme, the Glasgow Pain Management Programme, and on that programme it was a 10 weeks, half a day a week kind of sessions, and we were taught different kinds of tools and techniques to help to self-manage pain ourselves. The kind of things where setting our own, understanding our values, what's important to us, setting some goals, and then from there setting an action plan which would help me become more mobile, more flexible and achieve my goals. And then after that they gave us a toolkit of different tools to pick on, from things like hot words, using hot words and what they mean to us. So I can't do this, I won't do that, I'm going to be sore if I try this, to acceptance. So acceptance commitment therapy, which was a tool they taught us which I hadn't come across before, which is around accepting what you can and can't do, accepting that I'm going to be in pain for the rest of my life now.
I don't think you really move on until you accept your pain. Once I was moved on to the pain clinic, I got a psychologist. She says there isn't one day you're waking up and there's a great big banner with balloons that says acceptance. She says you don't just suddenly waking up and go, I've accepted what I've got, I've accepted my pain. She says it's a long journey that you're on and you'll slip on and off the path, but the road will twist on your journey. But in the end, she says, it's just a gradual thing, and that's how it happened. I can't tell you the day I suddenly accepted I had CRPS and I had chronic pain. It was just a slow progression.
I had very simple physiotherapy to start with. I was exhausted, I couldn't do very much at all, but once I left hospital, I had a fantastic community physiotherapist who visited me at home so that I didn't have to get to appointments, which had been a big problem in the past. And we just built it up from there, and eventually I was well enough to go swimming. So I swam. I remember going into the swimming pool. I hadn't swum for many, many years. I got in the water and I swam one length and then I got out.
If you change your language to say, I can't do 10k, but I can do yoga. So, it's different ways of doing things. I can't pick this up, but if I move differently, I might be able to pick that up. So it's a kind of positivity around your negative thoughts and noticing how often you do that, because they drag you down. So for me, probably 80% of the tools that I learned were around the mind and using the mind in a much more effective way.
A few days later I did the same, but I'd swam 2 lengths. And I said that once I could do 40 lengths, which is what I used to do years ago, that would be a sign that it was time to find the next kind of physical goal.
I think if you don't have little goals, you're kind of aimless. You don't have anything to achieve for or get out of your bed for in the morning when you are sore. So little things, little tiny goals, like I'm going on holiday this year, so to be able to be planning for next year or for this in 6 months or even tomorrow is a huge life change for me, because I couldn't plan any day before. I couldn't plan, I didn't know how well I was going to be each day. So for me, I know I can commit to going to London in September. I know I can go on holiday in June, so I know now that I can do that. So that's commitment for me, and aiming for things and putting in place little different techniques to get me there.
Somebody told me this early on, that somebody with chronic pain, you only have so many spoons in a day. And every day, how many spoons you have to use is different. And so instead of saying, oh, I'm having a bad day or whatever, we talk about how many spoons I've got. So I'll say to my husband, Paul, I've not got many spoons today, or I feel I've got a lot of spoons today. So that helped me learn, because I did the typical things. When I had a good day, I would just rush about and try and do things, and then I'd be bedded and then be ill for days or weeks after. So I then learned how many spoons I had in a day, and I learned that I could actually start to do things. I think they use it as pacing as well, but I don't like that word, because the hospital, everybody was ramming that down my throat, pacing, pacing, pacing. So in our house it's called the P word, because I don't like that word anymore, because it drove me round the twist, because I couldn't learn to pace in the beginning. I would try and do something with my hand and the pain would just be, so I found how many spoons I had worked. So that was how I started realising that in amongst exhaustion, the tiredness, the pain, that if you learn just to do a little bit, and then a little bit crept on to being doing a little bit more, a little bit more.
The tactic of pacing is one of the hardest things that you'll ever try and learn to do, and you almost have to keep relearning it, or I do anyway, because your body and mind, it doesn't come naturally, I think, to a lot of people. The temptation is always to do a bit more, and then when you have a flare-up and you have a bad day, it can be very disheartening.
Pacing's really difficult for me. It was something that I hadn't known anything about before. I hadn't come across it before, because I was always 100 miles an hour at everything. So car and full throttle is the way I explain it. And obviously if you do that with a car, the bits fall off, and that's me. That's me in an eggshell, literally in a nutshell. I know now that I've got to change gears for different situations. I know now that I've got to sit quietly sometimes and gather my thoughts and recenter myself, and I use my mindfulness for that and yoga for that.
And one of the things they explained to me in the hospital, we sort of mapped it out, was that when you live like that in the boom-bust cycle, you might start off with having a good day and a bad day, and over the course of time what you end up with is a good day and then 6 bad days, and the recovery time seems to take longer and longer.
For me, pacing means if I'm in the office, I don't wear heels. If I'm out of the office, I'll wear high heels. If I'm in the office and I'm sitting on the computer a lot, we've got intelligent lighting, so it'll go off every half hour, so I move. And I don't just move a wee bit, I'll go up to the different floor to go to the toilet. So there's all different things about pacing in there. It's about knowing your limits and not pushing yourself, so that you have that. You're fine one day, you're lying flat on your back, the next day you're fine, the next day, and then so it's about finding that balance, that little, what we call a baseline. And then from the baseline, it's just like pushing on not pushing on, a bit like moving forward each day a little bit more. So I now can do the gym, I can now do 2.5k walk, but I can't do 10k running.
It is a continual battle to remind myself you can't do all the things. Prioritise. I rule my life via online calendar, where I colour code rest time as well as activity time, and try and stick very closely to that. It's not always possible, but wherever possible.
Pacing's still difficult for me. It's something even today it's a mind thing for me now. I need to change my mindset, because my mind's still at 1,000 miles an hour, but my body's not anymore. So I've learnt how to listen to my body and manage that, but my mind's still 1,000 miles an hour. So for me, that's where my mindfulness comes in my yoga. I do a yoga every morning, and at classes at night. So for me, that's when I get that time out, the stopping, and then I realise. So sometimes I have to catch myself, that I know I'm pushing too far or too hard, and I just stop. I just can let things go now. That's something I couldn't do before, was let things go. So for example, if I was doing the garden before, I would do it and I would blitz it in an hour and a half. I can do a bit and go off and have a cup of tea, and then do another bit and then come back, or maybe another day and do something else, because I still enjoy doing it, but I can't do it as fast as it. And I'm not frustrated anymore that I can't do it that quickly.
You have to want to live again. And I know I can't be the person I was before. And I thought the Diane I was lost. But I'm not lost. I'm still all here. But it's just learning to let all these bits of you come back and surface again, and not let the pain control you.
On the day that I did 40 lengths, I saw a poster for an all abilities triathlon, and I decided to enter it, and that was in 2013.
The question I'm always asked is, what difference has pain management made to you and self-pain management made to you? And I always say, don't ask me, ask my friends and family. They see the difference physically, they see the difference, and emotionally. And it was one of my brothers that said, it's not your physical difference, it's in the eyes. You're alive.